Well, this is going to be a short video. I don't know if I've got enough battery left, but this is a very interesting old place. That bit you're looking at in the middle is supposedly timber frame. It's not. It's all modern brickwork underneath. But there is behind it, you'll notice, quite a bit of timber frame. And there is timber frame under the weatherboard. But there's something about this place I want to show you. All these walls are enclosing timber frame, and you'll start to see when you go inside, you can see some very big old beams, and this is the sort of place that's good fun to look at. The size of these beams here, they're massive. We're still trying to work out what this place is, but beautiful big flagstone floors. But if my battery will last long enough, we're investigating in here. You can see part of a massive jowl post there. The most important thing about this place is it's very early, and when you get up into the roof you will see all of the beams are smoke blackened. So this entire place, this is a whole house with smoke blackened timbers. So very early. We think it's on an L plan, but that is just extraordinary. I rarely if ever see these. So this was an entire medieval hall house, and it had no chimney at all. In fact, if you look to that end gable, there's a little triangular opening, and that's probably where the smoke went out. You can see all of those beams are blackened. Everything is blackened in here. Here you have some daub, wattle and daub, hazel panels. That's much more recent. You can see that that's not been affected by the blackening. And here is some of the original. You can see those massive staves, great big timber staves. If I put the torch, you can see they're quite big. And this stuff, which is daub, you can see it's seriously fibrous. Beautiful stuff. And you can still see the smoke blackening on the daub. So you have original infills and blackening everywhere. It's quite extraordinary. The chimney obviously is later. I'll try not to fall through the floor here, but you can just see going back you've got another 2 bays in there of smoke blackened roof. You can see the whole thing is just massively smoke blackened, and built up in there is much more recent. That'll be Victorian. Lath and plaster ceiling of the rooms inside. So very, very historic place. We're still trying to work out what to do with this place. It's quite a big project that we've been asked to look at. Our first problem is to get to grips with the building and the age of it, then what work needs doing to it, and go from there. It's obviously been around in the same family for quite a long time. There's papers all over there. Yeah, 1959. So yeah, lots of rubbish. Atom boost for Anglesey Coast. That February 1959. And you can see you've got much more recent partitioning in here. So this place has gone through an awful lot of reiterations over the years. I don't know if there's enough battery left, but there's, I'll show you there. This is obviously Victorian in the kitchen. Massive bread oven. And the copper, the boiler. Old Rayburn. And then you've got to see this to believe it, the size of this timber. That is an entire oak tree. I don't know if I can try and show you this, but if I put my hand up here, you see how big that piece of oak is. That's the top of the oak. It's got to be 2.5 feet. Massive, massive timber lintel. Now all covered up by that, with this incredible sort of fireplace in here. Absolutely mind-boggling stuff. You can see the detailing on these timbers is slightly different to the other rooms, which sort of led me to wonder whether there's different ages here, but we think not. We think this is probably an L plan. You can see the finish on those timbers, the stop chamfers. But the size of this thing, and there's another side to the ingle. Falling over things here, that's a obviously modernised. Lovely slate flags, and you can see part of the infill here. The original sill beam down the bottom still in existence, and here somebody's got stone wall and they've done the gypsum bit. And just out of interest, you've got this thing here. That's how easy it is to create a damp problem. The damp wallies would tell you about rising damp. Well, it's not. See all the salts coming out there, thick with salts. There's salts for you. And that's all because somebody lent a bit of melamine against the wall, look, and it's just built up behind the wall. So I think I'm going to stop there, but this is a big ongoing job that we're going to have to get our head around. Major restoration. I don't know exactly what cost is going to be. There's a cellar under here which stinks a bit, but there you can see part of the timber framing coming down into the cellar, and then there's another cellar through that hole. There's a huge cellar on the other side of that, so it's quite a big space. Relatively dry, but just a bit smelly. There's one other little bit of if our battery continues. Where were we? Oh yeah. You can see here behind this you've got some beautiful daub, original daub panelling. You can see the oak beam there, and then the daub. Hazel, that little round twig there you can see, which is the end of a hazel twig. It's a little bit difficult to show you there. You can see the end of another hazel twig sticking out. There's another one. So that's some very, very old daub, sort of creamy coloured. That's the original external wall of the building. And again in here, we're looking at the base of this massive truss, and that's the kitchen below. So you can see a very, very big structure, timber frame structure. It is pretty big. Very impressive, but everything's covered up with this awful fiberboard and little bits of plasterboard, and what a mess. I don't think there's a lot of work been done in this building, probably for 40-50 years at least. Right, so we'll carry on, finish the survey.